In this exercise, we are going to use visualization to help us remember things. All right. You need a pen, paper, or pencil. Include that. I've got also a sharpener right nearby, and I've got my eraser handy just in case. All right, let me sharpen this up while I'm talking here. So you're asked to get some 5 different words that are random, and you can go to a word generator program on your computer. I think you can even be specific. This was things, as I recall. Um, so, as an example, I've got psychic, wave, turtle, arrow, and fire. You're going to come up with 5 different ones, of course. Put those right here. And then in your mind's eye, we're going to create a visual image for quick, clear memory. And then be specific. Okay. If your word is dog, picture the breed, the age, the color distinctly. You can use a memory palace or a creative combined image. So let's just do this example right here. And I'm going to try to come up with a creative combined image with this. Okay, so if we can all close our eyes, we're accessing our mind's eye. All right, so psychic, and just see by drawing from your memory what image appears for a psychic for you. Next, we're going to think of what image comes from wave. And of course, they could be really varied. We could certainly think about waves on the ocean. We could think of waves crashing on the beach. We could think of waves when you throw a rock in a pond and it ripples out, those kinds of waves that are generated. We've got turtle. Okay. I have a very generic idea of what a turtle is. Arrow and fire. Okay. And we want to remember these in order. So as I go through in my mind's eye, I'm going to start to build on the images that I created. So we've got psychic, wave, turtle, arrow, and fire. Okay, so I'm going to externalize this just to show you how I'm thinking about this in my mind's eye. So psychic, I have one very generic image of what a psychic looks like, and I'm thinking they've got a crystal ball in front of them. Super simple shapes, simpler the better. And I'll have the psychic. I actually don't know what. Well, it's kind of a gypsy. It's always a woman that comes to mind here with this. Uh, Not that I think about psychics very often, but she looks mad. She's just focused on this future in this crystal ball. They usually have it's a kind of gypsy, uh, dark hair, um, a sash that goes to the side that comes down from her bandana. So that's what I've got going at the moment. Maybe she could have her hands, um, something like this around the crystal ball. But that's what I've got for psychic. All right, got a bandana here. Let's give her some dark hair. Super simple shapes. Don't spend too much time, but this is in your mind's eye. Then the next word was wave, and I put the wave inside the crystal ball, and I was just thinking of generic ocean waves. Nothing terribly specific, but and then maybe I'll fill this in with some value so it looks like it's a wave rather than a frequency or something like that. So it feels solid. And when I imagine it, I was almost imagining a real photograph of the waves moving, right? Because she's looking in the future. So this is actually animated, these waves. She's still, but these waves are animated. Next, turtle. And when I did, I thought of a turtle um, holding up and I really don't know what turtles look like, but I know they've got these on their shell. Super simple. And maybe he's looking like that. Now you might want to, let's say you have an image and you don't have any specificity to it. Then you might want to go and look those uh, you know images up, because you could certainly have thought of, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was this, which is which I did think of briefly um, in my mind's eye, but I kind of thought that was more of like a palm reader or something. So although that big eye kind of fits in with our iconography here with this guidebook. Okay. I'm not going here because it feels too much like a palm reader to me. So I'm going to go back here. So we've got psychic first, then I got wave going in the crystal ball, then I got the turtle holding it up. And what's next? Arrow. Okay. Now I could have an arrow going through the turtle. That's pretty cruel, but memorable. And sometimes you can think about, you know, they call it um, the hat on the dog. And that means that, if you can put a hat on a dog, that's something you're going to remember, something unusual and striking that is going to stay with your memory. We could have it going through the turtle. We could have it going through the crystal ball. I don't know, all the water would be splashing out, which might be memorable. Um, I don't know. I thought of this. This seems a little gentler, but I had this psychic being kind of a jokester, and there are these arrows that look like it's going through your head, but it's got this thing here that goes around and she's a jokester, and so she wants to have this arrow on her head. A little bit striking, less cruel. Okay, and then fire. And initially, I was having the turtle and the fire. I was thinking, how could it get into the crystal ball? Because the wave and fire are kind of opposites. But what I ended up picturing in my mind was like a fire coming out of this turtle's mouth. And why? I don't know, because it's the only place I could think of it. These might get a little confused in terms of order, but if you can just go back, and then I'll go psychic, wave, turtle, arrow, fire. Is that all of them? Right? Psychic, wave, turtle, arrow, fire. Yes. Okay. So now what we'd like you to do is just take a 5-minute break. Okay. Turn everything off, go do something completely different, walk around, whatever. Do not think about this. All right. And then come back in 5 minutes and see how you do with your memory with this. And of course, yours may be very different than mine in combination, but this is the way to think about it. This is a combined image where they're all hanging together as one cohesive unit, or sort of cohesive unit. Okay. Okay, next, you're going to come back here. You've come back after a 5-minute break. You've remembered them and write down how many you remembered. Did you remember 5? Did you remember 4, but they weren't in the right order, etc. See how you did. Another 5 words. Generate 5 more, whatever way you want to, and then do the same process. See if you can picture it in your mind's eye. If you need to look something up, by all means, get it in your memory to access it. And then see if you can't take the first 5 words and then the second 5 words and then put all 10 together. Okay. The other way to approach this is something called a memory palace. And that is a room that you recognize and are familiar with. And at least what I do is I'll just clear everything off the tables, and so there's nothing there except these things in order as I walk through the room. So in my office, let's say where I'm at right now, I might walk in the door. To my left is a desk. There's one lamp on it, but I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm just going to put in order. There's a psychic. Maybe it's a picture of a psychic. And next to it is the wave. And next to that. And so that as I walk through the room, I identify each of these different objects or things or concepts in order. Okay. Let's do one more just for practice, and you can imagine if you do this often enough, you're going to get pretty good at it. Like you'll start to really be able to feel comfortable about remembering a lot of things because you know this process. Okay. The other 5 words that I got from various sources. This was not because theirs are different. So I've got the number 17, New York, donut, band, and that's not a thing. It's kind of an action of sorts, and a Van Gogh painting. Okay, so how can we combine these to get them into something we remember? Or do we want to do a memory palace where we walk through and we see 17, next to it's New York, next to it's a donut, next band, and next Van Gogh, right? Okay. So the initial process is just to close your eyes. I'm going to tell you the words again. Just keep your eyes closed. And let's go with 17, the number 17. Okay. Now you might want to think about writing that out, SEV, or just keep it as numbers, not words actually. And then we got New York. What comes to mind when you think about New York? You may have even lived there, so you'll have a different perception. Donut. We all know what donuts look like. That's easy. A circle within a circle. Yet, how can we be specific about that? Like the waves, we want to be specific about what they look like. What kind of donut is it? Is it chocolate covered? Is it cream filled? Are there sprinkles on it? What? And the more specific you can get, the more it'll sear into your memory. And then we've got band, which is very unusual, and we've got a Van Gogh painting. Okay, Van Gogh did a lot of paintings, so we might want to think of one of his paintings, or maybe just his style. So here's what came to mind when I did this. I thought of the New York skyline. Well, first of all, I thought about 17, and then I just thought about the New York skyline next, and I don't really know what the Empire State Building looks like, but I'm going to call it the tallest, and I know it's got a. And I was going to do 17 buildings across, like so many that, like, I got to count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I got 10 more to go. Small, big, whatever. But I kind of don't care, other than that I know there's this really long stretch of these buildings, and there's 17 of these guys. The other thing that came to mind was maybe this has got one of the buildings has a big sign on top or on near it with the letter and the number 17 in there. It's another way. All right, next comes donut. And this was tricky because at first I was thinking of the Macy's Day Parade, a huge, gigantic donut that I would remember within the city. But, that's not the perspective that would allow for that to be convincing, right? Because that would mean down whatever avenue, and then there'd be this gigantic donut here. But I'm going to just put this donut on top of the Empire State Building on its pinnacle there. And I thought of sprinkles. That was kind of, you know, predictable, but still memorable, you know. And then what's next? Band. The the image that came up was a circle, like with no smoking, no whatever, right? So it's a sign symbol. And then it made sense that this donut might have the no donuts. Where there's been some kind of a crises with donuts. They've been found to be some have been found to be poisonous for some reason. They're an ingredient that so they're banning all of the donuts. You can't eat any more donuts in New York City today. All right, and then a Van Gogh painting. This is tricky. I was thinking maybe the donut would be done in the painting of Van Gogh's style, but I was thinking maybe it just makes sense that the whole thing is a Van Gogh painting. We could even have Van Gogh painting this thing, but I'm going to just imagine it to be in his style, with very dramatic. He's a post-impressionist, so he's got these impressionistic brush strokes, and the whole thing was painted by him. We could have him sitting there, or just the painting itself. So, 17, New York, donut, band, Van Gogh painting. Now, we could also set this up as a memory palace where we walk around our room and each one of these is in order. And you can explore that hopping over. So I want you to put 10 of these words together and see how you do. All right, enjoy the process.